Buddy, welcome to Mystics MMOs. I am your host, Mystic Raven. All right, I'm trying to see if this is online, if everything okay. Looks good. It looks like we are totally good. Hopefully everything just keeps going on. Okay, we look good. I'll check it out in a few minutes, but we look good. So, in a very within like the next 4.5 hours is like a big deal for me, like a huge deal. And I'm not just talking from a spectator's, seat at home, waiting for Square Enix E3 conference. No. That's that. This has become so much bigger for me because I have made some talking pretty big calls out there, and I said, one of the things we can anticipate if there's going to be an announcement, and I'm almost wanting to believe with like an 80% chance, not 100, but an 80% chance that we're going to get an announcement from Yoshi P, Final Fantasy XIV, about a new platform introduction to Final Fantasy XIV family. And I'm hoping this happens, and I've almost predicted if it's going to be Xbox. Now, there's been no confirmation of this. It's not going to break my heart. Like, for example, if, it's on, Nintendo. I mean, it's not going to break my heart, to say, oh, well, it's only on Nintendo. But, yeah, I'm pretty pumped up nonetheless. So I'm pretty pumped up. I'm pretty stoked. I'm like, let's go. And we know we're going to hear something about, Avengers, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Tomb Raider, things like that. So there's going to be a lot of good news, but and even Final Fantasy VII Remake, I want all that information anyways. I'm almost 60 on my Paladin. Let's go. So I'm looking forward to it. There's a lot of things I'm just pumped about. If it doesn't happen, hey, life goes on. But if it does, that would make everything in my life so much better, no matter what. Because I've been telling, I told people from the get, I'm like, you guys don't understand the future. You don't understand it. You're not getting it. You're not gonna see it. And that's what it's about for me, is being able to be objective to the market trends and to the technology that's coming out with it. And for me to see this unfold, I'm two of three. I'm two of three right now. And I've said that making this, like, I've called two things, and because I called, there was going to be a partnership somewhere along the lines with Microsoft and Sony. Well, in not in the essence of predicting what was going to happen, that something had to happen. So I wasn't aware that of all the details surrounding Sony's involvement with Microsoft. No one, like, unless you had those negotiations taking place firsthand, you wouldn't anticipate all of the details. But I said the thing about it is with stream service, Sony's going to fall behind, right? And Microsoft and Google are the competition against Sony unless Sony does something drastic to secure their business in the future moving forward. And lo and behold, Microsoft and Sony, came to, some arrangements to do business and to offer Azure to Sony. And I wasn't aware it was going to be in that delivery, but nevertheless, how Sony was going to have to make adaptations to keep up into the market moving forward with stream service. So there was one. Second, of course, was some of the multi-problems that was going to face ZeniMax in Elder Scrolls server problems and coding. It's like the servers are going to epically have major issues during the launch of Elsewhere. And of course, we see this problem. I said we're probably even going to see some crashes, or at least, some, response problems. It didn't completely crash because they're maintaining it, but they didn't take it down. Let's put it this way. They didn't take it down. There was thousands of players, hundreds, let's just say hundreds, if not thousands, that couldn't get online. They couldn't even get in the game the day of launch. And EU players especially were having problems, and it's been plaguing. I said the problem of it is ZeniMax is going to do what? They're not going to have these servers. They're not. They're going to be ill prepared for the Elsewhere launch because they didn't take upgrading to be priority. And I saw that, I called that, and absolutely it happened. I said they aren't taking this serious. They're the board is trying to save a few bucks, and it's going to cost them money in the long run. Now, congratulations for, ESO. They've been, making steady progress. Absolutely. I agree with that. But a lot of the things about it is, it is what it is, regardless. They could have sold a lot more copies of Elsewhere. They could have taken it to the park, but they didn't. And that was my point. It was like you could have buried competition. All your competition could have been buried. Dude's fucking up. As long as we're getting healed, I don't care. Just keep moving. Chrissy, what's up? How you doing? Hope you're having a good day. So the one thing I've kind of said that. Now the last thing I've mentioned is Final Fantasy 14. Microsoft pushing hard this year at E3 to do what? Promote future services. That's what the game plan is in the long run. Even if consoles eventually die out, what's going to keep the duration of it for any company moving forward is gaming services, not so much hardware in the capacity of, products. We're still going to need devices, but we're going to have so many different devices to connect to, right, in the future, that the company who's going to make out the most are the companies who's going to have more services to offer. And Microsoft's competition and Sony's competition is Google Stadia. And I said, and Microsoft wants to beat them to the punch. And lo and behold, xCloud, I knew about the stream service. So I can't say I wasn't aware of stream services. I've been aware of stream services for years now, but the thing I wasn't aware of that was going to happen up until a few months ago was the time push between Microsoft and Google. So all of this information's unfolded. And I'm like, now for Microsoft, they're going to want to do what? Give accessibility to the existing consumers to do what? Introduce multi-device crossplay. So basically, as many devices that Xbox Live can connect to, the more services it offers to multiple consumers. And lo and behold, Game Pass is being introduced to the PC. You're going to see xCloud associated with the Game Pass because it's the stream service. So a lot of people are anticipating Project xCloud to be separate from the Game Pass. And in essence, it will have a separate function, but the service is going to be linked together. That's what's going to happen. Why? Because it's a part of the business model. It's a part of the future development of the service plan. And I said, and Microsoft would be naive not to take advantage of products that already offer the capability of being on multiple platforms, despite, preference. And the one game, there's only a few games out there that do that currently. And of course, one of them being Final Fantasy XIV. So, because Final Fantasy XIV, if they made a deal with Xbox, they could get that up and running pretty quick. I mean, not relatively like overnight, but yeah, definitely, it wouldn't be nothing for Square Enix to say, yeah, we can have this ready within a year, or less. And that's completely doable. And that's what I'm talking about. So if this gets announced, now there might be some discrepancies because Square Enix has said they don't like their game being tied behind a service plan like Xbox Live. But given the fact that majority of Xbox players already have gold, and if they could work something out and Microsoft is okay with it, Square Enix, says, okay, you know what? They already have it. We don't like it, but hey, whatever. And they make this deal with Microsoft, it's going to be huge. It's going to be massive. I'll tell you that. Yep, keep pushing. Hell yeah, boys. I don't know if I'll level 60 with this. I don't know. I mean, I got my buffs up. I got my XP boost. I got my earring. It's a lot of XP. I'm getting 313 XP bonus. It's a lot. I'm good. You, are the healers behaving today? I hope. They're not happy, Chrissy. They're not. The healers are not happy in here. They are all mad because they're like, we're losing DPS. And it's like, yeah, I mean, we get it. I mean, yeah, it sucks. I mean, but, you know, what's a healer supposed to be doing? Last time I checked, healers are they're supposed to be healing, but, you know. Are you coming back, by the way, Chrissy? Are you going to come back for Shadowbringers? Or are you going to just, you know, I mean, it doesn't, you know, I understand your position, why you left. Especially after telling me like they were trying to force you to do something you didn't necessarily want to do. And that's always the sucky part. I personally like to have an adaptive, you know, element to my game style, but not everybody can do that. Not everybody can invest all that time and resources into like being able to play what they want and then being dictated to. And nobody likes that. I can't right now. My laptop killed itself. Oh, no. Do you have your PlayStation? Do you have a PlayStation? Yeah, PS4. Yeah, get it for PS4. What's up, Roz? You can get it for PS4. And you can still access your old account. So you don't need your laptop. And you can get a keyboard and mouse if you're comfortable with it. You can either use a controller or keyboard and mouse. I sometimes get on my PS4 and play this game. So I'll switch. Like I'm mostly on my PC, but sometimes I like want to harvest, or I just want to, you know, if I'm PvPing, like I'll just get on my PS4 and have a relaxing moment and kick my feet up, and just be like, sit on the couch and be like, you know what, I'm just gonna kick it on the PS4 today. You got to hear this. I'm chatting on PC and watching on Xbox. Nice, awesome, dude. Do you have a PC, Roz? I didn't even know you did. So this is like my predicament. I am excited and nervous at the same time. I'm excited because, you know, there's a lot. It could definitely change a lot of things. Like I'll be able, even if I die penniless, I will forever be able to rub it in some of the people who has the most money locally in their faces for the rest of my eternity. Even their grandchildren will never be able to escape me. Never. None of them. It'll be I'll be brutal. I'll be like, oh, I remember your grandfather when I'm like 70 or something. Yeah, what'd you think of him? I thought he was a complete idiot. You know? And then I'll have all of that information from days long ago, from a galaxy far, far away. I'll be like, your grandfather passed up the opportunity of a lifetime. But, you know, hey. And I'll be able to say that. I'll be able to say all of it. Any trolls coming in will get flogged by my knowledge. It's just like, I've been doing this a long time. You know, I used to, you know, test for some of these companies. I tested for Microsoft. So for me, that's not, you know, anything, you know, when there were certain games that came out, and there were some games I actually got the, you know, the honor to alpha test, or not even some of them alpha test. Some of them I did test like consumer information, like stuff. Microsoft was like, hey, you want a free game? I'm like, yeah, sure. And they're like, yeah, well, we need your, you know, your opinion on this game. Yeah, sure, I'll do that for you guys. Yeah, free game out of it? Sure. You know, you can't talk about it. Oh, absolutely not. You know, I've gotten to do a lot of really cool things in the industry. One of my, like I said, some of the stuff I stupid into was just dumb luck. Well, and then some of it was just known. It was just like, you know, hey, we want Mystic on this team for our test, and like I would get contacted and I would do it, and I was like, yeah, you know, people would be like, hey, Mystic, can you do us a favor? You know what? Yeah, sure. How many months are we looking at? What's the times? What's this? Alpha testing and closed testing isn't glamorous. It's bullshit. It's a lot of junk, to be honest with you. That I don't, whatever. 1 second. But, anywho, my dog. Is Phantasy Star Online coming out in English on PS4? I don't know if it's going to hit PS4. What got me crazy, and I'll talk to you in a minute, Ross. So, Phantasy Star Online is native to PlayStation in Japan. So, when Phantasy Star released in Japan, it launched on PlayStation and PC. So, we know this to be true. This is facts. There's nothing, you know, speculative. It is what it is. But unfortunately, we don't know if it's going to be locked behind Xbox. And now Xbox said it is crossplay with PC. So PC and Xbox players will be able to play together, but we don't know if it's going to be coming to Nintendo or PS4 for North America. Now, it is available on Nintendo and PS4 in Japan. So Sony opened up its, you know, its crossplay to Nintendo over a year ago, I want to say. So Phantasy Star Online's been on Nintendo Switch in Japan for a year, over a year now, I want to say, or around a year. And we don't know if Microsoft and Sega and Sony and what all the details were. But I'm back, by the way. I got you. But Phantasy Star Online 2 is coming to Xbox One and PC with crossplay, right? Yeah. Yeah, all the content's free. I don't like that. I like Phantasy Star, but I wish it would. I wish it wouldn't have been free, to be honest with you. That was one of the things that bothered me. I would have paid for it. I would have paid for it. I don't want it being monetized like that. I would have paid for that shit. I mean, I would have. I would have paid the hell and back for that shit. But unfortunately, because of the whatever, they've just decided, hey man, we're making this we're gonna lock this behind, you know, a free, but you need to cover it, and I need to be with you in streams. Phantasy Star, Phantasy Star is awesome. I played Phantasy Star 1. It is different. It's not everybody's liking. So I will say that. The way the Phantasy Star system works is way different than most MMOs, majority. Even before ESO, like there was Phantasy Star. Phantasy Star has been out before Elder Scrolls, and they had, you know, the Twitch system. Well, actually, the combat's it's an action combat. Like it's way different, man. But once again, it's cool because you don't need to make alts and shit. Like you don't need to do that in Phantasy Star. So it's like at least one, but I don't know about two. But yeah, there's going to be a lot of shit that's going to be like really cool with Phantasy Star. A lot of customization. Combat system looks slightly different, so I'm not familiar with all the technicality behind it, but it's action combat. And for it to be cross-play the way it is, absolutely, it's gonna be big. All I have to do is just keep clicking this. That's my goal. While they keep firing the cannons. Okay. You need to cover that and play with me, though. Yeah, it's going to be off the hook. You know, Phantasy Star Online, yeah. It'll be a little dated. But, I mean, we'll see. I'll have it. It'll be a part of my collection, believe you and me. I'll still have it. But, yeah, for it to come to North America, it's been like, it was supposed to come out in North America like 5 years ago. And it just got like, oh, you know, there's always been a hype behind Phantasy Star Online too. They even, like PlayStation even made a mobile version of Phantasy Star. Like a mobile version of it. And everybody was like, where in the fuck is Phantasy Star? Where in the fuck is Phantasy Star? Where in the fuck is it? And all of a sudden, it like nothing. Like zip. Nobody heard anything. And it was like you can Google it. It's on PlayStation in Japan. It's on the PlayStation in Japan. I'm like, God. And here's my thing. I don't want it to be locked behind Xbox. That's my only thing. And like today I was talking to people, me, Hercules, and Fior. We're talking. And I was like, I don't want... I just don't want to be isolated too. For me to buy whatever console, it's about accessibility. What is the console giving me versus my PC? You know, at this point. And if you say exclusives, that's not going to turn me on to your product. It's going to turn me off of it. I don't want to hear that shit. I want to hear like I can play with my friends on this. I can do this on the console. I can, you know what I'm saying? When I think of the console, I think home entertainment. Right? I don't think exclusives. I think it's a utility, piece for my TV. It's my Blu-ray. It's my, you know what I'm saying? It has multiple features for me. Like both of the backwards capability of the new Xbox and the PlayStation are going to be amazing. So I am looking forward to for the cross-play capabilities behind the consoles. So that's one thing I am looking forward to. Not quite leveled up. Not quite. But we get to finally meet each other on your... Oh, yeah, definitely. Right. But there's a couple of things like Microsoft and PlayStation. Let's say they come out like only 2 months apart from each other next year. Right? Hypothetically speaking. So you have the PS5 and you have Xbox Scarlet. And I'm going to look at this. What are you giving me? That's it. That's all. Like, why am I... It should be about preference. I'm looking at parameters, not, game titles. They associate like my desire to own a console. I have a PC. I have 3 PCs. Why would I want a console over PC for my gaming? I don't necessarily do. Like, I don't. But if I'm going to game on a console, what's it giving me? What parameters? Is my HUD more user friendly versus my PC? Do I get more, options with like voice comms? What's my parameters? Right? It doesn't always have to be, technically superior. I'm not looking at superiority over a PC. I'm looking for specifications as far as accessibility. That's what I want out of my console. That's what I want. I've had an Xbox before a PlayStation ever since the original Xbox until Xbox One and PS4. So when I had the 360 before the PS3. PS3 turned me off because there wasn't for the price point and what it offered in hardware. I would have bought it had the price point been a little bit more accommodable, because there were a lot of things that I really wanted to enjoy about the PS3, but I just couldn't I couldn't justify the cost to Xbox's market price. And so I had, the Xbox 360 before the PS3. But when PS4 came out, what sold me on that versus the Xbox One wasn't the price. They kept slightly in comparison. PlayStation was still slightly higher. But PlayStation had a mini device, and I have it right here. I forget what it's called. I need to get it. That I could connect to my PS4 from any location and stream my games from my PS4. So I could access my library via PSN through my PlayStation. And that sold me. That little feature sold me over the Xbox. And a lot of people don't think about that. Little things like that are selling points, man. It's things like that. And then on top of it, like my friends who had PlayStations, if they didn't have a game that I had, but they wanted to try it, they could. I could host them into my PlayStation and let them try my game. So that, and then if they get it, then we can hook up. So that's what's nice. You still can't do that on Xbox to this day. Only PlayStation has that. So I literally got the PS4 before my Xbox One. Now I have an Xbox One, but I got my PS5 before. And why? We have 2 PS5. We have 4 Xboxes and 2 PlayStations. Because my kids are Xbox fans. My wife and my kids prefer Xboxes. So that's the way it works with those guys. Except my one daughter, she prefers PlayStation. So my daughter, my wife, and me, I have my own Xbox and stuff. They each have their own console. My one daughter is a PlayStation. She likes the controller better. It's nothing about the console. It's the controller. Just something simple. It's just that simple. She likes the controller better for the PlayStation. So it didn't matter either way. But she preferred the PlayStation controller, so she got the PlayStation. But, for me, though, it's about parameters. It is. And I keep trying to reintegrate this over and over. Like, Microsoft needs to understand that if what's going to get me to buy it? What's going to get me to support the Xbox, the next Xbox? Accessibility. If you're still not, if the titles are being held back because of some paywall and you're limiting my accessibility to the products, and these companies won't do business with you because of that, then that you're forcing me to stay on PC. You're forcing me to pick the PlayStation. It's not because of whatever. You're just forcing my hand to go that way, you know? And eventually I do always get both consoles. So it's not like saying I won't buy an Xbox. But if I had to pick one or the other, it's all going to be about accessibility. I don't want to be tied behind a title. I don't like that. I absolutely find that disgusting. Like, if the, and to be honest with you, the more I typically see these games, I don't buy them because of that. I'm an MMOer. I'm not like an action punk. You know what I'm saying? An action junkie. I'm a player who plays MMOs. So consoles, I played consoles prior to online games, MMOs. And I always said this was the future. And everybody's like, are you kidding me? Like, multiplayer is just a niche market. I'm like, you're fucking high. What it does is it has a longer stability. And I proved that in my meeting that I had a few months back. Like, you know, the market, like years ago, people were saying like I didn't know what I was talking about. I was like, you don't understand. You don't understand the business model. You don't understand it. You're completely fucking naive as hell. They're like, well, it's about units. I'm like, no. It's about revenue. You have to understand what this business model offers. So all of a sudden now everybody wants to be a part of service market. But who originally started service market? MMOs started service gaming. Like, that's what it is. When you pay a monthly subscription, you're getting, you know, game updates, you're getting fixes, you're getting, you know, and then you have to buy expansions or DLCs depending on each game. But that's the service model. That's where service model comes from, is MMOs. So now you have a lot of single player games making the adaptation to multiplayer features, which all originated with the MMO market. And given the fact that consoles did finally adapt with PS2 and original Xbox, being that you could connect via internet and have multiplayer skirmishes, but then they later on adapted even, you know, a lot of the gaming experience through multiplayer sessions. So a lot of things have changed throughout the years. So I'm excited for Phantasy Star Online 2. Absolutely. Phantasy Star Online 2 is going to be beast. It's going to be a beast game for sure. It's definitely going to be. And I can't wait because, like I said, I mean, there was some advantage to being able to test for these companies in that capacity. I'm not saying there wasn't a perk in that way. Like, once again, I feel like it all came with experience. Like, you know, we're going to test the new gen game. You know, what's your hardware look like? Well, I don't think I can run it up that high, given the fact that we don't have accessibility to that for another year. Well, we'll render it down, and because they need it backward compatible as well. So I would get to test a lot of games and, you know, get to play. And there for years, that's what I did. You know, I was just a little tester boy, and it wasn't glamorous. It was just, you know, test this, test that. What do you think? You know, what's your thoughts? And I'm like, okay, I like this. I don't like that. This is good. There's bugs here. You know, it's nothing huge, but it did help mold a few development pieces for games. And I felt honored by that. Of course, then when you have the big wigs who don't listen to their developers and don't listen to their consumers, it wasn't even about me. It was always about the consumers. I'm like, you're not even listening to your players. You're not listening to your developers. If you're not listening to these two people who typically don't see eye to eye, but are seeing eye to eye, and you're still making executive decisions, despite that, nothing good's going to come from that. Like, nothing. The only thing you have to ask is, are we going to make more money than spend more money? Because you can't justify spending money if you can't recoup it and still make a profit. That's ridiculous. Like, that is completely absurd. But if you can make more money for the investment and keep your existing players content, keep your developers happy, and still push in the right direction, that's good business. That's good business. But unfortunately, the problem of it is they try to get too greedy, or they want a faster recuperation on their initial investment, and things will end up turning really ugly in the long-term sense of what was put up and what was recuperated. So I can see it now. OU streaming PSO2, and I pop up, and everyone in your chat's like, "Oh my God, Roz is on Mystic Stream. Oh my God, it's actually him." Of course you can't. You will see me. Yeah, I mean, a Phantasy Star, definitely. It's about a little less than a year away, 11 months. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward, especially with crossplay. I think it's the crossplay movement is the future. Why? Because of stream service. And I said right now is what you want to do as a development company is accessibility on multi-platform, and try to secure as much cross playability as possible for your title. If you're not investing into the future of your product. You're investing within a year, only recuperating a year. Within the next 3 to 5 years, the face of gaming is going to change dramatically. Yeah, we're getting new gen consoles next year, but those are going to be shorter lived in the term of what services are going to be offered for gaming. So stream service within the next 5 to 6 years, we'll still have players on traditional consoles, but the accessibility from stream service literally is going to put these games in your hands with multiple devices, and with the lowest specs that you're going to need to render it. The only thing it's going to be more dependent upon is your ping, your connection speeds, and how much data you have available. And that's one concern that everybody has to have moving forward, or data caps for mobile users, or satellite feed caps. So I honestly look for more fiber integration in the next 3 years on United States bound, given opening up the pipelines, extending pipelines and opening up isolated pipelines to give a wider infrastructure across the United States. So this is going to be a big investment for service, once again, service business models and IP ISP configurations within the next 3 to 5 years. Because why? Well, it's the infrastructure. It's the way the infrastructure has to work. Well, we're still behind in the United States when it comes to internet infrastructure. We pushed 5G before we pushed fiber, and we're still running like I said, satellite coax. And once again, it's regional. I do understand and I do agree. Regional applications and cost and associated costs is one of the factors that have to be taken into consideration when extending this type of infrastructure. However, the people who initially are going to invest have a longer investment return, a longer return on their initial investment. Why? Because the fiber lines will last them more than a decade, 2 decades. They might have to replace, but once those have been established, for whoever owns the fiber line has money, like residual money coming in by the like shitloads. Oh, hell yes. Yeah. So there's going to be a lot of changes in the industry. There's going to be a lot of changes in tech and in accessibility. I tell my kids this. I'm like, listen, I'll tell you the pros and I'll tell you the cons. You're not going to want to hear the cons, but you should know it. You want to hear the pros, I'll tell you it. There's a lot of things. We're going to see a lot of good things come out. And of course, there's going to be some bad things. And you have to understand, especially economically, that nothing right away, but problematic later down the line. However, once again, we'll see. I'm not one, it's how I view things. It's how I function. And tonight is just going to be either, raise Mystic's hands up or just put him down to the side and be like, ugh, we're so close but still far away. So we'll see. We'll see. It's literally, If we don't hear anything, it's not coming to Xbox. If we hear confirmation tonight, I'll be screaming. I will stream this. I will be streaming this tonight at 9 o'clock in 4 hours. I will be streaming this, and if I swear to God, if this goes down, I will friggin' lose my mind. Because it was just something that, you know, I don't know. Like I said, I love it when people tell me I don't know what I'm talking about. And it's like, no, I do know what I'm talking about. But you're not listening. So, once again, we'll see. But Ross, thank you for stopping in. Chrissy, thank you for stopping in as well. I hope they fix everything. And Chrissy, if you do get this for PS4 and you decide to come back, please message me, and I would love to game with you on this game as well. So once again, I'm Mystic Raven. This is Mystic's MMOs. As always, thank you. Have a nice day.